If you've been scrolling through endless projector screen options, feeling like every spec sheet looks the same and still aren't sure which one actually makes sense for your living room, this review is here to clear that up. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the last few weeks watching videos, reading the tech notes, and even talking to a couple of folks who just finished installing a similar setup, so let's walk through what really matters when you're eyeing a big screen home theater upgrade. First off, the biggest source of buyer hesitation isn't the size of the screen or whether it's motorized, it's the environment you'll be using it in. A 135-inch diagonal screen looks spectacular on paper, but if you're battling a bright kitchen window or a ceiling fan that constantly drifts light across the picture, the image can look washed out no matter how good your projector is. That's why Elite Screen's Starling Tab Tension 2 with CineGrey 5D material markets itself as an ambient light rejecting (ALR) solution. The idea is simple. The surface absorbs stray light and reflects only the light that's coming directly from your projector, giving you deeper blacks and more vivid colors in rooms that aren't perfectly dark. Now, let's talk about the category itself. In the world of home theater screens, you've got three main variables: material, tensioning system, and actuation. The material determines how well the screen handles ambient light, the tensioning keeps the surface flat and eliminates waviness, and actuation, whether manual or motorized, controls how easy it is to raise and lower the screen. The Starling combines all three. The CineGrey 5D fabric is a proprietary blend that's designed for mid-ambient light conditions. The tab tension frame clamps the fabric at the edges to keep it perfectly flat, and an electric tubular motor does the heavy lifting with a remote that works over infrared and RF. In theory, that's a premium package, but the real question is how it behaves once you actually install it. The size is where the Starling really makes a statement. A 135-inch diagonal translates to a viewing window of roughly 66 inches high by 118 inches wide. That's a sweet spot for most 8-foot wide rooms, letting you sit about 10 to 12 feet back and still fill your field of view without feeling cramped. If you've got a dedicated home theater room or even a spacious living room wall, the screen will dominate the space in a way that a 100-inch pull-down just can't. The larger surface also means you can accommodate a wider range of projector throw distances, which is handy if you're planning to use a short throw projector on a coffee table. Installation is where the rubber meets the road, and here the Starling shows both its strengths and its hidden trade-offs. Because it's a ceiling mount model, you'll need enough clearance between the ceiling and the screen when it's lowered, usually about 1.5 feet. That can be a problem in rooms with low ceilings or where you have ceiling fixtures you can't move. The motor kit comes with a wall box and a tubular motor that slides the screen up and down at a decent speed, about a second per foot, so you're not waiting forever for movie night to start. The remote includes both IR and RF options, meaning you can control it from across the room even if line of sight is blocked. However, the motor does make a faint whine when it starts, which is barely audible in a dark room but could be noticeable if you're watching a quiet drama and the screen is moving mid-scene. What really sets this screen apart is the CineGrey 5D material. In a typical living room with a few windows and some overhead lighting, a standard white matte screen would let a lot of that stray light bounce back into the picture, flattening the contrast. The CineGrey surface is engineered to reflect light at a specific angle, effectively rejecting most of the ambient spill. In practice, reviewers have noted that the blacks stay noticeably deeper than on a regular white screen, and the colors pop even when the room isn't fully blacked out. That makes it a solid choice if you can't or don't want to invest in blackout curtains. On the flip side, the ALR fabric does have a trade-off. It can slightly shift the perceived color balance of your source material. Some purists say the gray tint can make the image look a bit cooler, which means you may need to tweak your projector's color settings to get a truly neutral look. Also, the tensioning system, while keeping the surface taut, adds a few extra pounds to the overall assembly. The motor is robust, but it's not built for frequent, rapid cycling. If you plan on pulling the screen up and down dozens of times a night, you might feel the wear sooner rather than later. Who should buy this screen? If you're a movie enthusiast who has finally cleared a wall for a permanent home theater installation, or if you're a gamer who wants that cinematic feel without turning the room into a dark cave.